Hey there, Stitchers. Debbie Hodge from StitchStories.com here to talk about Lucky Circle. Lucky Circle just came out today, as did our Easter design. And we had also had just a couple weeks ago Choose Love. And what I want you to notice is all three of those have some real commonalities that would make them fun to display together. And there is a bundle option. You can find all these at StitchStories.com and then go to kits or bundles. And what they have in commonality is, see, there's a mandala at the core of each design, a design that repeats radially within the circle, and they all share some common colors. The light green, the yellow, the apricot here are also, let's see, not the green, but the apricot and the yellow are over here on the Easter one, and then that carnation, the darkest red, is over here on Choose Love. So they've got these commonalities of color and of the mandala design, and then also all three of them have this two-color layered grid. You can see it in the hearts here, you can see it at the center of the Easter design, and you can see it in the leaves of the clover on Lucky Circle, our St. Patrick's Day, our Irish, our spring design. What is especially fun about this design, and why I want to recommend you go grab it, is this design has a lot of options for making it your own, which I know there's many of you who love to, you have the basic groundwork laid out for you, but then you want to have fun, you want to express yourself, you want to do new things. So let me show you a few ways that you can make this your own. And again, you will get the stitching guide with it, whether you get the pattern or the full kit. And of course, that's got a diagram that tells you what stitches I would use, what colors I recommend, some really detailed stitching notes about getting things just so. But then here, let me talk to you about some of the things that you can do to make this your own. There it is stitched. Here it is not completely stitched. So one thing you could do is, if you notice this oval right here, I've filled it with a satin stitch in the design. You could fill that with something else. Here it is completed, right? See how I filled them with the satin stitch? And also to know when you stitch this, stitch everything inside of a leaf before you do the outline. It'll let you get to the edges better. You won't be snagging the outline stitches. So there's all this fun stuff within each clover leaf, and then you outline it with the darker green. So what you could do is you could do something different in these ovals. So maybe you do some scallops, maybe you do a flower, a vine, you could do something different. And if you did do something different in there and you didn't put the satin stitch in there, then you would have the opportunity to maybe do satin stitches along the top here. Right now, I didn't put satin stitches along the top because I thought it was too much, so I'm going back and forth with two colors of green in straight lines along that arc. Let's see, something else you could do is, there's a lot of little circles on here around this inner ring and in the center. So I used satin stitch for those, but you could use the wagon wheel stitch. If you're not familiar with that, in any of our kits you get this with the guide and it tells you how to do the wagon wheel, but it's, some people also call it the rosette, or I think maybe a spider web, but it's, you're weaving in and out of some spokes. So you could use the wagon wheel in those spots. Let's see, something else you could do is, see how there's these orange sort of lines or sticks? And let me talk to you about why they're in there. So we've got the four-leaf clover in the center, and then around it we've got four claddagh rings with the heart, with this represents a crown, this is my attempt at it, and the ring around it. So I never really like working with even numbers in a design. It can feel really boxy. It doesn't it just doesn't have the kind of appeal for me that often working in threes does. But especially if I had just had the orange and yellow at those four spots, it really wasn't feeling good. So I added the yellow going all around to sort of unite with the whole thing, and then those orange lines really were needed. Otherwise, it just felt like I had a four square of those apricot or orange hearts there. So where those orange sticks are, or lines, you could double them up. You could stitch it with a chain stitch instead of a straight stitch. You could top them with a French knot. You could top them with a little X. So that's a place to have fun. Let's see, where else can you have fun? Oh, all around the outside. So the way I recommend stitching this is, it's two colors. One is the medium green and the darker green. So I've recommended that you stitch one of them first and then you do the other one second, and you make sure to make it look like it's weaving in and out, right? Go over every other one with the second color. But the openings here offer opportunity for doing something else. What might you put in there? A French knot, a cluster of French knots, a small little flower, a cross, a star, a burst, a leaf. You tell me. So you've got that opportunity to fill that in with something, a little something. And then something else, one final thing. Oh, let me look at my notes, see if I missed anything else. Yeah. So one final thing is there's a lot of fun you could have here with a whipped back stitch in 2 colors. So this outline here is done in the back stitch. See, with a back stitch you see every stitch. And I also did this outer border with the back stitch. You can use whatever kind of stitch you want to outline that. So what you might try here is this, these scallops are done in light green. You could whip it with a darker green and you're going to get a 2-tone effect, which could be really cool. Or you might decide to do that here. In fact, you could even reverse the 2 whipped stitches. So I think whipped back is a lot of fun. With whipped back, you basically do the back and then you take your needle and you go, oh, I should have brought, do I have a needle? No. So then you wrap thread around the back stitches. So if you do that in 2-tone, you get a really cool look with it. Give it a try. You can find the whipped back stitch in the instructions on the back here, so you can give it a try. The great thing is it's not going to put a lot of holes in your fabric. It's not going to be hard to undo if you don't like it. So this is Lucky Circle, new in the shop. Go to stitchstories.com and then choose kits to find it. Of course, it's also available just as a pattern if you just want the fabric. Oops, I'm out of focus. Let me see if I can get in focus here. If you want just the fabric and the stitching guide, you can purchase that. Or you can get the whole kit, which comes with a tin with skeins of floss, 2 needles, a little needle minder, the tin, which is a great storage tin, the bamboo hoop, all that comes with the kit, so you can get it in either way. And I recommend getting it in, get that 3-pack. If you get these 3, you're going to save 15%. Which is a big savings because we don't very frequently often that big of a discount. You get all 3 of these, you'll get a 15% discount, and they've got great unity in them. I'm having a hard time doing this. So anyways, I hope you're all finding some stitching to do. It's February 1. I live in New Hampshire. You know, when I first, I didn't grow up in New Hampshire. I grew up in upstate New York, and then I lived in DC, and I moved here and had kids. I discovered that what people in New Hampshire do in February, because there's a February vacation, is everybody goes south, someplace warm, but I never grew up doing that. I grew up always staying in the cold, and then once I had kids, February break was always a great opportunity to go see my mom and my dad and my brothers and their wives and their kids, my nieces and nephews. So February breaks were often spent out in upstate New York. So we were actually driving into more snow, lots of sledding, but also lots of time inside, playing games, crafting, creating, always lots of crafting. I still remember when my youngest son, who has helped me a lot with Stitch Stories when we initially set the business up, he taught himself to crochet on one of our vacations out there. And he was crocheting, he was ahead of his time, he was crocheting little Yodas, and one of my brothers would give him a lot of guff about being inside crocheting and take him out with a hammer to build a chicken coop or something. But I think this is a wonderful time to craft, to create, to get cozy, and Lucky Circle is the kind of design that you can do now and you'll have it ready for March, and it can just put you in the mood for, well, I mean, we're not going to see anything green here in New Hampshire till late April or early May, but it can start to make you feel the sense of spring. So happy stitching to everybody. Have a great week.